Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is your boy, Angel R Talk, with the NYC Talking Podcast.
The city of New York, Boricua from the Bronx.
We're just going to jump right into it. I know I've been a bit tardy with producing these, but I have a new job. I'm busy working. I've been going through some stuff. We'll talk about all that. But, yeah, let's get right into it. So, first off, I want to talk about Marvel. I feel like ever since the Infinity Wars ended, that whole arc, everything that has come since then has kind of sucked. I mean, I don't want to say it sucked, but it didn't bring the same level of excitement. You know? Like, when you finished watching any of the Avengers in that arc, there was something still to look forward to, something big to happen. And every time one was going to come out, I'd get so excited. My son would get so excited. We're so happy. We can't wait for it to come out. And then when it comes out, we'll go to Kips Bay in Manhattan in the big IMAX theater and watch it. And it was amazing. We loved it. It was our thing. And since then, there's been a few movies that have come out. And they're okay, but none have generated the level of buzz, excitement that those first, that whole 15-year arc did, you know. I think it was 15 years. I don't know. I read that in a tweet, so I'm just echoing that, but don't quote me on that. In any case, it's not the same. They're okay and kind of like it almost feels like standalones, whereas I mean, even the recent one with Ant-Man, you know, going in and into that tiny world where he was fighting that new guy. I can't even remember his name right now. It was okay, but it wasn't like, oh, you know, like this. I'm just not as excited. I did enjoy Loki. I thought Loki was a well done show, and it was pretty fun. The ending was kind of heavy, you know. So, like, yeah, I enjoyed Loki, but overall, and I'm sure a lot of people agree with me on this, it's just not the same. And that's unfortunate because they could have started a new arc and created the same level of buzz, but it's just not happening. It's not working. I still go watch the movies, but I bet if you look at the numbers that they were generating before and the numbers they're generating now, there would be a significant difference. Again, it's just not the same. Unfortunately, it's what it is. Now, this is a little harder to talk about, but we're going to do it, okay? Since just before the new year, I started to have anxiety attacks. Now, I don't call them panic attacks because I believe that panic attacks are severely more distressful and scary and stuff than anxiety attacks. So what I would feel is fear, anxiety, this terrible fear coming up from within me, and just terrified, shaking, sweating, freezing, all at the same time. Now, I like to eat. I lost my appetite. I wasn't hungry. I think the worst part of it was every time I laid down in my bed, I would feel it. I would feel the feeling comes up. So for those first few weeks, I had so much trouble sleeping. I hadn't slept. As a matter of fact, last night was the first night that I slept 7 hours straight since this episode began to happen. We've had to adjust my medication many times. Yeah, they gave me medication and I had no choice but to take it. I mean, it was bad. It was bad. I mean, the only way I could describe it is if you take a human being, you hold them by their legs over a roof, let them go catch them and tell them, I'm going to let you go. And that panic and fear and utter, that's what I felt just laying down in my bed, sitting here watching TV with my dog. It happened to me when I was teaching a Zumba class, and I was going to just burst out crying. Like, it was, oh man, I've never experienced anything so bad in my life. And um, the level of desperation that I felt, especially when you can't sleep. Anybody who's experienced sleep deprivation knows how delirious it can make you. And if you're already in this anxious, heightened, terrible state of feeling and you can't sleep, it exacerbates it. And it makes it so bad, I can't even describe how terrible it was. I have always wanted to stay away from medication. I never want to rely think let me explain it to you this way. I'm taking medication to feel and be the person that I was 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, before this started to happen. Now, how is that okay? How is it that in order for me to be me, or for me to be baseline, for me not to be freaking out in terror, I have to take fucking medication? Like, I hate that. I hate it. I hate it so much. I hate it. I hate it. I feel like I'm trapped in those things, you know. But I feel better. I feel better during the day. I don't get them. When I do feel something, I take a deep breath and calms it down. Whereas before, the deep breaths, the calm me goes, the I bought a calm me go. I did this thing called Serenity Protocol or whatever. None of that stuff has worked. I've been doing therapy. You know, therapy hasn't helped. I felt like I've been wasting my time. I've done therapy in my life before when I was younger. I had a good guy, but and I'm still connected to him, by the way. We're still friends, but um he doesn't take my insurance, so he can't really treat me, which is unfortunate because I really like the guy. You know, I just don't think I can afford to pay him out of pocket for every session. Um, but he gave me, spoke to me for like 30 minutes and gave me advice and stuff. He's a good dude. Freddie Baez, the guy helped save my life when I was a kid. I was in a pretty rough spot back then. Um, I'm working with this new guy. He's cool. He's a nice guy and stuff. But I don't feel like it's really being helpful, and I I I don't know. I just don't feel like we're a good match. You know what I mean? I've been giving him a chance to see as if we progress, if things improve and stuff. But I think if the next time we talk, I don't feel some significant improvement, I'm just gonna cancel it and try to find someone else. I don't get me wrong. The guy is cool. Um, he's a cool dude and stuff. It's just a matter of, I guess, energies and vibes, right? That's all. But yeah, so um, first they gave me something called hydroxyzine, which is an antihistamine. What you take for itchiness and hives and things like that, and it helped. It definitely helped. I mean, it would help me calm down in those first few, few days when this all started happening. Um, but it makes you sleepy, and compounded with the fact that I hadn't slept. To take an antihistamine, which makes me even sleepier, I was calmer, but those days were rough. They were so rough because I was so tired. And Jesus, to be tired and not be able to sleep because you're panicking and freaking out. So they gave me a nighttime medication to try to help with that. And the first time I took it, it helped, and then after that, it stopped. So they upped my dose, and it didn't really help. I was getting up like every hour on the hour, literally. I could look at the time, midnight, 1, 2, 3, 4. I was getting up every single time, and then to try to fall back asleep, it took me a while. Then I get a couple of minutes, and then repeat the cycle all night long for weeks at a time. I've had such a rough time. Then they asked me to take Lexapro. So the nighttime one is called Trazodone, and uh, they went from 50 to 100 to 150 to 200, where 200 helped me get like 2 or 3 hours in a row. Um, but I was still waking up. Then I went back to sleep, and I got a few more hours. So 200 was a stronger dose that seemed to help. But I spoke with several psychiatrists, by the way, because I don't trust any of these medical people, and they all kind of concurred that I was taking the right path with these medications. They gave me something called Lexapro. Now, I didn't want to take Lexapro because, again, I'm trying to keep it as minimum as possible. However, once I verified with all three doctors, excuse me, you're still seeing the repercussions, by the way. This is me struggling still, but I'm better. I'm better, but I'm still recovering from this thing. Yeah, so the Lexapro, once I verified with all three different psychiatrists, especially there was one who I was waiting for. I've been waiting for him for about 2 weeks after I made an appointment because he kind of seemed like he came highly recommended and kind of hard to get an appointment with him and stuff. And I wanted to see what that guy says. And at the end of it all, he did say that I was okay to take the Lexapro, and he would encourage me to. However, he said he recognizes my reservation with it, and he was understanding that if I didn't want to take it, that I shouldn't take it. He didn't push me. He didn't press me. He said, I think it will help you. I think it will help you on this journey. And mind you, this is all a temporary thing. So he comforted me more than the others did. You know, he said it's temporary. You're taking it just to balance things out. And then we start to lower the dose, and hopefully things stay balanced. That's the objective. I was always under the impression that once you take it, it's like testosterone, right? I inject testosterone so my body stops making it. Then I need to keep injecting it so my body doesn't make it anymore. He said that's not how this works. It's more of you take it, things get normalized, and then you start to wean off it, which by then you should be okay. I hope that's the case. That's the plan. I started with a very low dose, but since I started that, he asked me to lower the dose of trazodone so that I can try a different medication to help me sleep better. But I will say that with the Lexapro in the day, early in the day, and then the trazodone at night, even at 50% of the original dose, I slept more. The first night I slept 2 hours, I got up, and then I slept like 8 hours, 6 hours, something like that. The second night, I went to sleep and I slept straight through 7 hours. This was the last 2 nights. I haven't done that in weeks. So it seems like the Lexapro is the key because I haven't taken hydroxyzine. I haven't taken that in quite a few days. I always carry one with me just in case, but I haven't taken it in days, and I've taken Lexapro now for 2 days. Today will be the third, and cut my trazodone dose by half to 100 milligrams, and I've actually slept. So maybe I don't even need to go to the other medication. I'm going to let him know what's going on and see what he says, but it's progress. It's progress, and we take what we can get. I got to tell you, this anxiety thing, I don't wish it on anyone. It is rough. It is rough. I never think that someone like me would be susceptible to this. I'm tough. I'm from the hood. I've fought. I grew up in the streets, dodging bullets, used as a shield in a shootout, jumped, stomped out by many people. I went to the military. I fought MMA. You know what I'm saying? Like to think that my body would make me fear and there's no reason to fear, like I would never believe that this could happen to me. Here we are. we do what we can, the best we can, and just push on. Moving along, somewhat along the lines of this topic, but pulling into a different area. I called the National Crisis Hotline one night. I was not thinking of hurting myself. Um, I just, I was just like losing my mind. I was so tired, and I just wanted to talk to someone. That's all. And my wife was sleeping. I didn't want to wake her up. My son's sleeping. Like everybody's sleeping. It was like at 3 in the morning or something. So I made a couple of calls to the crisis center. Um, I called a couple of places. I ended up calling the the psychiatric ward in a hospital, trying to get some information about the medication and stuff. And they were like, "This is a psych ward. Do you need someone to come get you?" I was like, "Nope, I'm good. Bye bye." You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, son, I'm good. I'm good. In any case, I called the National Crisis Hotline, which I mean it's the suicide hotline. You call it. I called the veterans one first, and the veterans person was nice, and they were talking to me and trying to help me out, but I was having a really hard time hearing them. Like their headset was just not good quality, sounded really far away, and it was a struggle to have a conversation with that person. So this would present a problem if somebody was going to hurt themselves and in a really, really different type of space. So that was concerning, right? But they were helpful, all things considered. Despite the crappy audio, they did try to help me and spoke to me, and they were kind and gentle and stuff. Then I called another time, and the second time I called, the person was like belittling me, like like crapping on me, yo. Like they were like, I said, I'm struggling with the medication. I'm not sure what to do. I can't sleep, blah blah blah. And she's like, well, weren't you told to take this? Why are you taking this instead? Why aren't you doing what they told you? Like, dude, you're talking to someone in a fragile state. Thankfully, I wasn't a person who wants to hurt themselves. But, I mean, the tone, what she was saying, she's like, why are you taking that medication then? I said, well, I'm trying to sleep. I'm trying different things. Well, if you were told to do this, then why don't you do that instead? Like, what are you doing? Like, this is how she was talking to me. I said, you know what? I'm going to go now. Thank you for your help. Is there anything else I can? No, I'm good. Dude, what the fuck? That's an emergency hotline for people who are in like a messed up space. And the representative was being mean. Like, what the hell is that? I'm actually going to pursue this. I wrote a tweet about it, but they didn't respond. So I'm going to escalate this. This is unacceptable. There are people who are suffering out there whose lives are in danger, especially veterans. Again, the veteran was nice. Right? This isn't about them, but they really should look at that sound situation because that was difficult. If I were hysterical over here and about to do something really bad, and I called and this was the person I was speaking to, it might present a problem because I can't hear you. I could barely hear you. But we got through that call. The other one, I just couldn't keep talking to her because she was pissing me off. But if I were in a much more fragile state and somebody who I called to help me were talking to me like that, it would not be helpful. So I intend to pursue this. I'm going to look at their contact information, and I'm going to find a way to escalate and report that person because that was just mean. Yeah, we're not going to let that slide. I tried on Twitter. They haven't responded. I'm going to look again. I'm going to retweet it, and then I'm going to look at other places. And I've been meaning to write a blog article about that too. That was terrible. I mean, really, like if somebody's calling you to help save their life and that's how you treat them, you should not be doing that job. That woman should not be there. We got to get her out. I'm going to push for that. On those same similar lines, I noticed that I've tried to get help from the Air Force, the VA, the military and stuff. And because I was a reservist the whole time, nothing is available to me. The rep that I spoke to at the VA was very nice. She was a very nice lady. She was helpful. She was trying to find a way. But based on what I did in my time and the way it went through, I was eligible for no help at all, nothing. And, you know, I get that reservists aren't on active duty as long as everybody else. I get that. And I didn't go to combat, right? I didn't do combat, and I never claimed that I did. I never try to lie about that and stuff. I've always been very honest. I never saw combat. Um, but I gave them 8 years of my life, even though it was as a reservist. That should count for something. They should help with something. You know, in boot camp, I had a toenail surgery because I had an ingrown nail. They did surgery, wrapped it up, sprayed me, sent me on my way right back to boot, marching right after that. I mean, sure, it's not, it's not a wartime wound or whatever, but anybody who's ever actually had an ingrown toenail, though it might sound like, go do, get a toenail, go to boot camp, have surgery in boot camp to correct it, and then keep doing boot camp things and tell me how you feel. Wasn't fun. Wasn't fun. But aside from that, even if we omitted that from the conversation, I gave them 8 years of my life. I was prepared to serve in a combat role if called upon to do so. Now, my enlistment was about to be up just before I think we were deploying to Iraq, and my enlistment was up. Honestly, I didn't agree with this action that we were doing over there, and I didn't reenlist. But that has no bearing on my time served. I didn't reenlist. It was time for me to get out, and I chose to get out. I served my time. I did my duty. My enlistment's up. I'm presented with the option to stay or to move on. I chose to move on. Personal choice, had my reasons, and I got out, right? But I gave them 8 years of my life, and they offer nothing in terms of support for someone like me. That just doesn't sit well with me. As a reservist, no benefits, nothing. Nothing. No help, nothing. She told me, I'm sorry, I have bad news. I don't think you qualify for anything at all from the VA. No rating, nothing. I mean, why would anyone ever join the reserves? You get no benefit out of it. And this is something I need to explore too, because I need to explore this more deeply, because I have one of my son's friends joined the Marine Corps Reserve, and he actually got hurt in there, but they're not going to take care of him when he gets out. They're not going to help him. My nephew was active duty. Now, he did get a VA rating. He got hurt. He got crushed by a Humvee, and they did give him a rating. They will give him disability pay for the rest of his life, which is good for him. But my son's buddy, who's a reservist like me, gets nothing. Absolutely nothing. Nothing. He won't get anything. Like I didn't get anything. It's messed up. They should take care of us. And this goes on to an even bigger issue. How many veterans who served, went to combat, became mentally disturbed or hurt, physically hurt, and are in the street, are homeless, are killing themselves, have no, the government, the service should take care of these people more than me. I'm just asking for some help. But forget about me, and let's look at those guys. Those guys really deserve help. And they should be. There should never be a veteran in the street. Never should be a veteran in the street. There should never be a veteran homeless, hungry, suffering out there alone. Those guys should be helped. And don't tell me, well, they they need to come and seek the help, and they, if they don't want the help, no, you got to make an effort to help them. These are our soldiers, and they get broken in war, physically and mentally, and then we turn our back on them. Never mind what you do to the reservists. I mean, that's small fries compared to what you do to these guys. Just not cool, not acceptable. And I've done fundraisers, I've done things to try to help troops, but clearly it's not enough. And what is it? I think the stat is that 22 veterans a day die or something. I'm sorry, I don't have the information. I remember the number 22. I don't remember the stat. But it should be zero. And none of them should be in the street. None of them should be suffering. I mean, society as a whole, we could do so much more to help people out there suffering. But in the United States of America, there should never be a veteran out there suffering. And it drives me crazy when we treat our veterans badly, especially those who served, gave their body and their mind for whatever corrupt bullshit war these fucking politicians had going under the guise of freedom, pretending that they're trying to help the country when all they're trying to do is make money for themselves or whatever. But these guys went out there, did the work. These congressmen, senators, presidents, they leave office, and these guys stay out there suffering. They take their money and they run. It's unacceptable. Unacceptable. On the issue of veterans, now, this is more along the lines of alumni. I went to Monroe College. Monroe College has emails, monroecollege.edu. And I asked them to please give me an email so that I can use it for some networking and, to have a more professional type of email set up. And they refused. I mean, I was working with the alumni relations head, and she was directing me who to talk to, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, when I did speak to those people, and they're like, we can't do it. We deleted your email X amount of time ago, and we don't do emails for alumni. Now, I researched this a little deeper to see if schools do it or not, and it's a school-specific policy. Some of them do it, some of them don't. And it has been advised that you should probably get your own email because any change in the administration could create a situation where they no longer grant you an email. And to me, that just seems kind of crappy. I get emails about participating in this and that and this and that. But you know what? I don't participate in anything anymore because those people at that school have never done anything for me. When I was out of work, I tried to use the Career Center to help me. They didn't really help me. Granted, they got me my first job after graduating, but I did graduate with like a 3.97 GPA, 4.0 with the first degree. Like I was one of their top students. I mean, top students. President's List every year. Awards. I did good by the school. And when I graduated, I would come back and talk to people. I went to our spot in Flushing and talked to potential students and tried to motivate them and get them to come. I'm not the most involved alumnus, but I've been involved in quite a bit of stuff, and I noticed that they never really reciprocated. So I've pulled back significantly. I haven't really done anything with them. Now, I've never asked anything of them either until now with this ask for the email. Can I please have an email? And I wanted it for several reasons, right? Again, networking. There are some products out there that you can buy, and if you have a school email address, they'll give you like 50% off. And if a product costs $300 and a school email will save you half of that, that's pretty good. It's money. I'm not rich. I'm not wealthy. I'm just scrapping by. I mean, I don't understand. You know what I mean? Like at least, and this is not to toot my own horn or anything, but if you're going to give anyone an email, if anyone in the school deserves an email, your top students of all time should be entitled to that, in my opinion. It should be a courtesy. We built this place. I was in there in 97, 96, 95. Like, I mean, I know the school was around longer than that, but I mean, we elevated you, you know, before you even had your master's programs and all that stuff. And it's just like the Air Force. There's no support. They won't even give me an email address. And the person said, well, we don't do this, da da da. Glad you understand. I don't fucking understand. I don't understand. It's not cool. Again, your top tier, creme de la creme students, and you can't even help them out. Very disappointing. Very disappointing. The last thing I'm going to talk to y'all about today is Jackie Chan. There are not many people out there who I would fanboy over. I've seen many famous people and stars. I live in New York City. You run into them all the time. I see them and I go, give them a nod. That's it. Like, you know, keep it pushing. If they don't nod at me, I don't nod at them. Like, I try to be friendly, but I'm not really like, oh my God, how are you? Oh my God, you're such a. I don't do that shit. They're people just like me and you, men, women, just like you and me. They just happen to be very famous and very wealthy. And what good does it do me to run over there and grovel at them? Doesn't do shit for me. They're not going to do anything for me. They don't give a fuck about me. They're not going to remember me 5 minutes later. So why would I grovel at them? That's child stuff. You know what I mean? Kids do that. Little kids, and not grown men. Grown men don't do that shit. However, Jackie Chan is someone who I've loved since I was a kid. Big fan. Big fan of Jackie Chan. And I was at Nobu, a nice restaurant in the city, eating with my then girlfriend. I think it was my birthday or her birthday. I can't remember. But we were at Nobu, and I saw Jackie Chan, and I saw Chef Nobu. And I went over, when they were talking to a bunch of people, all women, by the way, all women. And I tried to, get their attention, and they kind of just, brushed me off, So I was like, yo, it's not that he doesn't talk to fans, because he's talking to these women. All the women, bro. Now, I get that. I think I'm a dude. I get it. But I'm like one of your biggest fans in the world. None of them, they were young. None of them are going to be the level of fan that I am. They don't really care. They might recognize you from Rush Hour. I'm talking about the sequel to Fist of Fury and way back old movies, all these crazy old movies that were super low budget. I was watching those. I had them all, man. I was a huge fan. Admittedly, I still am. I'm still a fan of Jackie Chan. I saw the movie The Foreigner. It was phenomenal. That movie was so good. I loved it. He's a dope actor, and I'm a big fan. Now, he's talking to all the women ignoring me, his big fan, and I got kind of, got in my feelings about that. I was like, yo, the fuck? So I kind of put my arm on his shoulder to try to get his attention. Now, I just learned today that Chinese people believe that putting an arm on their shoulder is bad luck. I did not know this. I didn't know this. I just was trying to get his attention. And he kind of shrugged me off and turned around like he was going to strike me, bro. Now, at that moment, I was kind of like, I was kind of shocked, but I was like, yo, how dope would it be to get knocked out by Jackie Chan, bro? That would be epic. You know what I mean? Like, what a hell of a story that would make. I got knocked out by Jackie Chan. And then I'd sue the fucker, right? Obviously, I'd have to sue him. It's like, all right, you see what you did? I'm your biggest fan, and you beat me up, and now I'm going to get something for my fandom. I'm not taking this crap. Anyway, he just shrugged me, looked in my direction, and then went back to talking to the ladies. I got to tell y'all, that kind of hurt, y'all. Kind of hurt. I felt pretty disappointed. I'm a big fan of his. That's one of the only people in the world that I'd ever fanboy over. And the dude ignored me and kept talking to the ladies. Now, I've heard before that he's a bit of a womanizer and stuff. And listen, I'm not hating on that, you know? I'm not hating on that. But come on, bro. You're one of your biggest fans in the world and you diss him, bro. It's just not cool. You know, it's just not cool. Now, I know I was out of line with the whole grabbing him thing, but it was an impulsive thing. I was hurt. I felt like disappointed. I know I shouldn't do that. And now that I know that it's considered a bad luck thing, I'll never do that again. But it was a rash thing that I did because I felt kind of butthurt. Not gonna lie. I boycotted him for a while. He had some movie out there with a balloon or whatever. I don't remember, a hot air balloon or some crap like that. I never watched it. When that period, around the same period that happened, I didn't watch that movie, and I boycotted him for a while. But when The Foreigner came out, I did watch that, and then I was like, damn, this dude's still dope. I mean, I'm still a fan. But he did hurt me, y'all. He did hurt me. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys this week. I will be back soon. I got some guests that I'm lining up, a lot of comedians, some in New York, some overseas, talking to different people, some friends who want to talk about some things. So I'll see you guys soon. This is NYC Talking Podcast. Thanks for listening. Take care, everybody.
You are listening to the NYC Talking Podcast. www.nyctalking.com. Please like NYC Talking on Facebook. Please follow Angel R Talk on Twitter and Instagram. We are NYC Talking, the realest lifestyle blog ever. Thanks for listening.